guys stay dry. Still, yeah, I know. I don't know. It's a lot of raining this year. Why? I don't know why. But still, yesterday and today is still raining. And it just feel like depressed. But some people like rain, but some people don't like. But yeah, I hope that you guys take care of yourself very well, not to catch a cold. And I know, like this day, just stay home and relax, but it doesn't work. Anyway, today we're gonna talk about human relationship at school, and if you are an administrator at school, and just think about what kind of relationship with are you gonna have. Maybe you gotta talk to students, and sometimes you gotta talk to teachers, and you gotta talk to also. You need to relate to the staff, and sometimes, not sometimes, always you need to relate to what district and you belong to state, right? There's various relationships there, right? And sometimes you have to relate to parents and community. So relationship is really important at school, especially as an administrator. And nowadays, if you can work for a company and there's a human resources there, right? And they controls everything, benefit and other relationships, and if something's happened, if you report to human resources, and they're gonna investigate and then deal with all the problems. So yeah, if you go to big company, there is, but maybe small and or small company, they don't have a human resources, but it means that also human relationship is really important in organizations. Whether they have a human resources department or not, and the relationship is really important to achieve the goal of organizations. So if you have a good relationship with others and maybe it's easy to work together, but if you don't have a good relationship with others, and it's a lot of struggle, ups and downs, and it's a waste a lot of resources and times and energies, right? So today we're gonna talk about the relationship at schools as a So administrators should consider when they lead school. So last week we talked about the leadership, right? How important the leaders is at school and their roles. And then I don't know whether you guys remember, sometimes maybe they can be a manager, sometimes instructor, and sometimes kind of also communicator, right? So you gotta work with others. And there's a lot of different roles, but depends on the leaders in the organization. In the organization as well. Maybe the organization would be successful or not, right? And that's why leaders, roles are really important. So maybe leaders and when they got into school, they start to kind of work as a leader, and maybe they have leaders have their own visions and they shape the values, and then developing visions and creating meanings and developing unique culture based on their moral values. Is it right? Depends on. I don't know whether you guys go to church, and then depends on the the board. Board kind of gives a lot of authority to the pastor to direction in terms of the direction of ministry. So maybe depends on the church culture, but if you go to church and then most church, it depends on the pastors and visions and direction of ministry, they support church ministry, right? And then pastor, kind of lead the organization and challenge them and inspire them and what. In the process of all things and what they shape the values and visions and developing the what visions, right? That's it is similar in church organizations, but just remember that how important the leaders role in the organizations, right? So I want to just refresh you guys about the leadership style. Rickert, and here is some leadership styles and exploitative, authoritative, and benevolent, authoritative, and consultative, and participative. There is a different kind of organization leadership styles, and then each style and how they concern about people, and then what's the trust factors, and then communication and teamwork. And there is leadership styles, and then just think about exploitative, authoritative leadership style is kind of the leader has low concern for the people and no more concern for the task, just as follow me, I'm a leader, like that. So there is no teamwork, right? Maybe it's a long time ago and society is kind of before the society developed the democracy and usually exploitative the leadership. Nowadays maybe some organizations like that and just follow me and just do whatever it says and like this says, and that is exploitative or authoritative. They really emphasize authority. Another one is a little bit different, developed, and what is the leaders of authoritarian, but still show the little concern for the people. They think about considering people, meaning that they consider about human relationship. But still, what? There is no teamwork. There is no teamwork. So we're going to talk about later. This one's communication is the exploitative, exploitative. There is communication is almost a downward process. A leader to the subordinate, and then just order. There's a hierarchy and order and follow me. Mean that leader knows everything and is clear about goal and just follow me. Just do whatever I want to do. I want to do like this. But benevolent, a little bit somehow there is from the bottom, because this leadership style concern about people and little bit listen to, right? Somehow upward but mainly downward. But there is room, but still communication is downward. It's a hierarchical order is there. But leader just ask about fear, prevented the subordinate from the clear answers, right? That is communication style. But if you go down to consultative style and participate style is a little bit different. The leader more focused on people. Can you see the kind of how they develop the leadership styles? And then participative, there is a high concern for the people, and leader is relationship focused. There is just think about, I'm the part of this group. Even though I'm a leader, they don't consider me like, oh, I have a power, just follow me. I know everything, I lead, right? That is a different. Participative is you just part of one of the members and listen and try to understand and try to listen to them, right? Consultative is it's better, you have to more concern about the people, but give them more advice, directions. Still, but it's not like authoritative boss, right? And so from consultative style, there is a moderate amount of teamwork. They can work together because they are more concerned about people and listen to people, and then they can work together. And then participative, and the people are psychologically close and work together. Maybe they develop an informal relationship, but they work together, right? And it's really different. But look at this, the communication style. And communication consultative is a vertical and horizontal communication exists. Vertical top down, and then still vertical. And between the workers, and they communicate each other, right? And then subordinate to lead. Sometimes even though they are not in higher rank, and they can lead, right? And so leaders to subordinate, kind of there is reciprocal relationship there. It's not much flexible like participative, but still it's much better than the authoritative. What about the participative, vertical, horizontal communication exists, and it's the same, both the ways same, but still this is more concerned about the people and give them more power to lead, even though they are subordinate, right? It's a little bit different. So I don't know what kind of leadership style school needs. We don't know. Depends on the school context. But if they have old school and really not flexible and rigid, and maybe one of these styles. But nowadays, how society changed, right? A lot of voice from the teachers, and a lot of voice from the community and parents, and like that. That's why. And it's important to we're taking these leadership styles nowadays. Just remember how I want to know that this was next lecture, but still I want to know today how leaders are concerned about the people. So degree of the concerns for people, so we consider different leadership styles, right? Let's see. There's a brief history of the development of a human relationship concept, how they developed, and in America it's like before 1930s, and then there is a stage of classical thinking. Usually, at this stage, it's characterized by classical economic theory and scientific movement. It means that they are really focused about efficiency and focus about productivity. How can they make whole things efficient, and how can we produce more like this, right? That is use the classical economic theory and scientific movement. So these students, they use that what's the way that they can make effective work and then more produce more, and then they usually use the incentive, or positive incentive and negative incentive. What's a positive incentive? If they work hard, and the production is kind of increase a lot, and give them bonus. Bonus is what about? And kind of work is less, and then not efficient, maybe, cut the salaries. I don't know how, maybe that is like a punishment, like this. And then, so incentive contribute to the necessities of life and the replenishment of the workforce, right? So how can we input more our resources to produce more outcomes? That is think about it at this situation, how much they consider people's people is kind of manipulated by the incentive. Not manipulate. I don't want to use this one, but still, yeah, right? The workers want to get more money, and so maybe there is some trying to find the meanings and trying to achieve the goal of life. And I don't say that there is no, but still, look at this. The management is leaders who use the incentive. That's why I say the manipulations. Anyway, second stage is like the 30s and 50s, we call the systematic development. In their period, they really focus on the dignity and value of satisfied workers, really concerned about who are they, human beings, right? And how can they make them satisfied? It's a lot different from the first stage. So this period, the productivity concerns social and psychological interaction among the human resources, right? Human resources. So here, informal social structure influence the productivity behavior. That's why people are really concerned about the rise of environment and structures, right? That is a little bit really think about who human are, right? Human beings. And around the 50 and 60 developed more than before, and then there's a psychological, social psychological need for the worker seen was significant determinant of behavior. Okay, it depends on the social and psychological need. It means that they are not satisfied with, and they are not respected, and its impact on their behavior. It means that impact on their productivity. We already saw the awful impact, right? So around there, and then 50 and 60, and there is a freedom to socialize on the job and participate in managerial decisions. And workers, lay workers, and then they can maybe, I don't know, there is a representative of the lay workers, and then they participate in a decision-making process. And right, and little bit there's flexible, little bit informalize, and then they can socialize at work, and that. So it's would result in greater and satisfaction, greater needed satisfaction, and increased performance and higher productivity. So this one is actually work, and then it's really focused on the human natures. That is a good side, right? That is a good side. What about the other side? I don't know whether you guys think about human nature, and then if you work, and then I don't know. I talk a lot with my wife, and then there's people who work really hard, and there's people they want to cook around, and they want to take responsibility, and they take minimum and don't work for others, and then who. Next shift and taking care of everything. But still, when leaders see all things, there is no problem, still working well. But some people really work hard, some people don't. And I don't know. So there's a lot of people who doesn't want to work and just spending time there, and then like this, freedom to socialize on the job, and then I can hear a lot of things from my wife. She was working in a government sector. And there is another side of the really optimistic view of a human being, human natures. Anyway, not all about, just think about leaders, we are really different from the lay workers, right? And as a whole, maybe there's no problem what's going on, and with the freedom to socialize on the job, but still, some people really suffered. Some people really enjoyed spending time like there. And there is no also work ethics nowadays. That's another issue. And that's what about 60s and 70s, and then they said try to define the work. What is work? Work is not distasteful, right? Work is not distasteful, and then people want to contribute to meaningful goals in their life. Why I'm doing this work, right? Like this. And what do you want to do with this work? What is the purpose of my life? But nowadays, people are thinking about that, and at the same time, they are thinking about their lifestyle. What kind of lifestyle they are pursuing, and they choose the job, right? And this, my daughter she's in medical school, and a lot of people think about their lifestyle, and then they decide what specialty they want to do. And if they want to really have a kind of lifestyle, but they are paid high, and then usually wants to get a ophthalmologist, eye doctors, and then maybe dermatologists, skin doctors. They don't have major surgeries, and they don't have on-call during the night, and then it's a kind of a 9 to 5 schedule. But they work there, and then they make it pretty much, and then they can, have a life like other people who work in the company. Depends on the people are pursuing their lifestyle, but a lot of people, they have kind of calling to help people who are struggling with their health. Not everybody, but a lot of people there. So they try to help them think about meaningful of life. And then, so it's a very supportive climate. Each of the members in organization will feel a sense of the personal worth and importance in all their interaction and relationship with organizations. Right? Think about how kind of workers can different from other decades. And so there's one model, it's a contingency model. It came out, the organization as a system or unit of behavior composed of a subsystem or subunit that identify boundary with the system. And that's everything is connected together. It's in fact together. That's why try to work together, right? That is another aspect of the human relationship. And then we can see 30s to 70 and how they developed. And then what about 70 and 90? Maybe they are not that optimistic about the human natures and around the focus on the relationship. That one is really focused on the relationship, not the workers. And then, so they think about leadership, how leaders can lead organizations. So communication skills and leadership skills and planning, making a decision-making process, and then evaluation, which really focus on leaders' role. And then there is a kind of a human relationships, the interest of the human relationships decline at the period. And it's like the 90s, and then they try to figure out what's going on, and then what. And in theory Z, they're like, it's from the Japanese company, and then so really emphasize the quality of work, and then collective decision making, and then they can not everybody, but different level of workers coming to decide, maybe, right? And participate in making decision, and then what? And but still, there is a responsibility though. So workers' responsibilities and managers' responsibility and leaders' responsibility, and then lifetime employment. So you don't have to worry about your unemployment. You don't have to worry about supporting your families like this. That's a unique environment in Japan, right? And then, so you don't have the drug team control, but everything is like whole companies, organizations environment is like contribute, control the workers, and that one is, but it's like 80s, and then kind of it's really impact on the company, but nowadays and it doesn't work, right? And nowadays, to think about, it's very focused on the quick and the outcomes, and then this is like a lifetime employment, and then what if they don't make, they don't produce enough? You don't have to wait. It means that maybe employers don't have a responsibility, maybe they will develop their ability to contribute, produce more. And nowadays, it depends on your performance, and then you can move to better job, and sometimes, fired, right? And that's why, so if we think about that one, is kind of a Japanese soil, and then from the Japanese soil, and then 80s, but American soil is a little bit different. They think about whole environment, but American soil is really focused on the performance. So like this, and then that's kind of unique, and then nowadays think about coachings and leaderships, and then it's really focus on that influence. And nowadays voice is really, the workers' voice is really bigger and bigger, and it's a different, right now it's already different, right? And right, so, and workers have kind of a right to claim their right in the workplace, and then there's a lot, a lot of suits are going on, and then claim their right, and then it's a little bit different from a long time ago, but that's good. Company really more concerned about the workers and working environment, but what about the workers' responsibilities? And whereas organization has organization should have a responsibility for workers, and then achieve goals, but workers are supposed to contribute achieving the goal, not take advantage of, right, or benefits. And that's like work ethics big issues nowadays, and different generations, different work values and cultures, right? And I don't know how you think about our generation, and then in the morning I'm driving up to LA for this lecture, and then I don't know what they think about, and a lot of people, like at least 4%, they taking their coupling, even though they are not exempt. Just young people, ladies, and everybody, and different generation of people, and they driving by themselves, but still taking a coupling. And I just think about, oh wow, we set the rule and maybe kind of help each other, but still a lot of people ignore it. Just think about ourselves. Okay, I'm busy, I gotta go fast, and then just violating, there's no police, and if you drive a few miles and there's a line is merging, and I don't care. What about people who just try to keep the what? Rules, regulations. They are foolish? Not really though. Anyway, that's why I don't know how you guys think about human natures. And really, we gotta think about ourselves, but we gotta think about community because we live together, right? But a lot of people don't think about the community, but think about self. And that's why. And then it's hard to take a reciprocal responsibility. Yeah, that's the kind of nowadays and a little bit different way. So if you treat it unfair and then try to claim and lawsuit and then try to get a compensate. And I don't know whether you guys read about a lot of articles and hear about news, and then sometimes it's too much. And then the organization company, I don't want to sued by the workers and I don't want to lose money, and they protect themselves. Not to give opportunity to sue. And what is a basic trust relationship? Anyway, yeah, that's developing. And then school is part of your organization, and then still influenced by the tendency of the society, right? Maybe, and slower than the others. So what is the human relationship? What is the human relationship? I'm going to go over several the definition of your human relationship. Here is Southstone, and then he says, study of people in the study of people at work. At work. Not only people, individual, but people as a member of a informal work group. People as executives in the management. People as union members. People as members of organizations with economic goals. And then study about people. That's a human relationship, human relations. Executive members and everybody, any informal work group and then management and then any study about people, right? People at work. That's Southstone. And then what about Scott? Effective motivation of individual in a given situation to achieve balanced objective that yields greater satisfaction and help accomplish organizational goal. What do you think? And human relations, effective motivation of individuals in a given situation to achieve the balanced object, yield greater satisfaction, and help accomplish your organizational goal. Think about the motivations. Think about the yield greater satisfaction for workers, and then achieve the organization goals. Davis said interaction with people in all types of endeavor, business, government, social club, and schools, and homes. That is the human relations. Really, it's really generous, and then, that's true though. as administrator, when you go to school and what goes to school and then interact with the children and the student, interact with the teachers, interact with staff, interact with the district, and sometimes interact with the state, like that, right? Interaction of people. That's true. And so we can see that the study of human relations and the study of the human behavior at work and effort to take action in operating situation that in order to produce better result. That is human relations. It makes sense, right? You gotta know how they behave, why. And you gotta know how much they input, taking responsibilities. Why? Right? In operating situation in order to produce better results, achieve goals of organizations. So usually when we think about human nature, there is three aspects, dimensions is there. And really think about the human nature. So already we talk about in the history, brief history of the human relations, and then really think about the human nature. So there is individual differences and the whole person's cause, behavior dignity, human dignity. Always think about the human's nature, right? How they different, how they similar, and how they produce more and less. And there is a clinical dimension is here. When you talk about the human relation, and clinical dimension is like tools, data to solve the concrete human problem in situation where they occur. So clinically, we consider people's ability, how can they solve the problem. They could use tools and data, programs, whatever, right? Actually, that measure is like people's ability to work. What about the ethical dimensions? So personal freedom and the preeminence of individual actions and affirmation of value with human collaboration and solidarity means that they behave based on their values. They have freedom to behave, right? There is individual uniqueness, but still, what's the ethical dimension? Just think about ethics. That is just really important in orientation, and just the affirmation of the value of human collaboration and solidarity, and then they could identify as a group who they are, right? And they can collaborate, work together for the common goals in organizations. But there is a moral kind of code, right? Sometimes it's visible, sometimes it's written, sometimes it's just norms. That is when we talk about the human relationship, and three aspect dimensions are here. Let's jump into theoretical perspective. And theory is how do you understand the humans? Based on we already talk about when we talk about the human relations and the what. First one is the human nature, right? And then here is, and he used the human nature. Here is a theory X and Y. And why is that theory X and Y? And there's a theory assumption is that theory X is like a person like this, and then an average employee strictly does not like work. They don't like work. But what? tries to escape it whenever possible. There is a lot of people like that. That is a person X, right? Theory X, person. And since employee does not want to work, he must be persuaded, compelled, and warned with punishment so as to achieve organization goals. That's still a lot of people like that, right? And the close supervision is required on the part of the managers, and the managers adopt more dictatorial role, style, right? Push them and then direct them and straightforward, and then, right? And these theories about many employees rank the job security on top, and they have little no inspiration and ambitions. I don't want to work, but I want to get paid as much as I can get. No aspiration, motivations, but just think about, oh, I'm going to this rank, and then I'm going to get paid more and more. They talk with this, work with this. This type of employees don't dislike responsibility, right? And employees resist the change, and every employee needs formal direction like this. So they give them direction and let them check whether they finish or not. That's the X type in human natures. How do you think? Yeah, we can see a lot of this kind of people in work, even in ministry context, church context. Maybe you guys think that all pastors are called and they doing exactly the work at church because of the God, and then but we consider like a person, pastors. Here is assumptions of theory Y, and then what is the Y? X, we already go over the X and the Y's, just much opposite way, right? And here is employee can perceive their job as a relaxing, normal. They exercise their physical and mental effort in an inherent manner in the job. Okay, they contribute to work, right? Job. Employee may not require only threat, external control, and coercion to work because they wanna work and they have a responsibility, but they can use self-direction, self-controls, and they are dedicated and sincere to achieve the organization objectives, right? Objectives. And if job is rewarding and satisfying, it will be resulting in employees' loyalty and commitment to the organization. And here is another thing. Every employee can learn to admit and recognize the responsibility, right? It's a different type X. And employee can have skills, capability, their logical capability should be fully utilized. I don't know what happened. Utilize, and then they contribute, right? Here it is. Oh, I didn't do anything and something's wrong. Think about in type X and Y, how it's different. If they see the human beings, employees based on the human nature. And still, what is the few, quite a few organizations use the theory X today, still there, but theory X is kind of encouraging the use of tight control and supervision. Without that, the organization doesn't function. So this one implies, type X implies what? Employee are reluctant to organizational change. And they don't want to, they don't want to innovate. That is a basic attitude. So, but many organizations are using the theory Y techniques, trying to motivate people and trying to encourage people, and then let them take the responsibility to work, let them achieve the goal of their organization, and let them find the meaning of life. So try to better environment, like think about the Googles. I never been, but they provide free lunches and like gyms and exercise place, right? It's really different. But my daughter is working in a kind of a consulting company. They try to do a lot of things for the employees, right? But employees should take responsibility for their work. Job is there, they have to, the deadline is there, they are working hard and while they're working, but sometimes they have social for lunch and sometimes they do other things and right. They try to make an environment like that. So, and if you take theory Y and then encourage decentralization of authority and try to encourage teamwork and participate in the decision making in organization, it works because they really to take responsibility. But if you think about theory X, this is crazy, right? The organization doesn't function. Die soon. So theory Y searches and discovers ways in which employee can make a significant contribution to organizations, right? And what? In organization, what? Harmonize and match with employee need and aspirations, what? With organization needs and goals, right? That is really nice and important. So which organization do you want to work? And if you are administrator at schools, and then you gotta know the school culture first, and then you gotta know what's going on, and then you gotta know the people, teachers and staff. Maybe they have X type and maybe they have Y type. How can you make a balance? How can you deal with the X types? So based on the human natures, and then there is Pygmalion leadership, and Pygmalion leadership is a type of self-fulfilling prophecy, like a leader, in which raising manager expectation and what, and managers more expectation and what towards the subordinate and what the performance, the subordinate's performance is getting increased. Leaders have more the attentions and then expectation to the subordinate workers, and then they produce more. That is so. It's not just expectation, and then think about if you have expectation high and then invest to workers training. That's true. If you don't have expectation, you're not going to invest any. And if you have high expectation and then provide what? Challenging task. Not just easy one. Sometimes we don't know the outcome, what's gonna happen, but we need to challenge them to do, right? Sometimes, if you have a higher expectation and then provide more feedback. Oh, you gotta do this one is better, and you did a really good job, and if you do consider this one, maybe it's gonna be better, and then encourage them like feedback. Sometimes, if you do that, and then maybe I don't know how it works. Maybe punishment is reinforcement is better than punishment. That's the research result, but I don't know. That's all. Give them more feedbacks, and then create support climate between leaders and followers. That's more important. Not just get a higher expectation, just not higher expectation, but think about big millions, and you gotta provide more feedback. You gotta create a supportive environment. You gotta provide challenging tasks. You gotta invest in workers' training. That is so. And then it works. So consistent encouragement and support and reinforcement of high expectation of followership and there was the work, they can produce more and make work efficient. So this one is effect only when it functions in all four interrelated dimensions and works. But if you don't just erase this one, it doesn't work. Big millions, you need these four elements, right? Functions in all four interrelated. That's hard, but still, not just expectation, but you gotta do something, right? That's related to the human natures, And another side, and there is a kind of understanding of human motivations and relate to the human nature and how can you motivate people and then let them do work and produce outcomes and more and effectively. There is models and process models, and there is process models. And among the process model, this one is expectancy model. So expectancy models belief is what individuals choose their behavior based on what they believe, and so lead to the most beneficial outcome. And really individuals are really important. What they believe, how they think about it, and then choose the way. And what leads to the most beneficial outcome. That's expectancy models. Theories, and what's the effort, and then there's what's the employee gonna input the effort, right? It was perceived effort, performance, probability, and then they said, if I work hard, will I get the job done? Questions. And with the kind of attitude, and you can put the input, and what do the perform? Work hard, and what happened? And perceive the kind of performance, reward possibility. You work better, and then there is any reward possibility, and then what's the reward? And then what reward will I get when I job is well done? And think and kind of expect, and what? There is what reward do I value if you finish this job? There is a basic and performance models, and the expectance models of motivations. It's a kind of site based on the self-motivations, right? It should, that you can see the kind of process by themselves, work by themselves, and then achieve something. Here is the order lower model of motivation. This one is kind of based on, this is a process model too, and due to all situations kind of contingent and connect together, connected, and then either eventually produce a reward. So this model is based on the assumption that reward causes satisfaction and that sometimes performance produces a reward, right? Yeah, that is a basic theory saying that what is kind of value of reward and the perceived effort and what's the possibility of reward, and then think about and make effort right here and connect together. All connect here, another surrounding conditions, and then ability to, and their ability and try to contribute, and then roles and perceptions contribute, and then the performance accomplishes the resulting expecting that one is a contribute, and then what happen, maybe intrinsic or extrinsic, maybe outward and inward. There is a motivation, reward was there, right? And so this model is like, think about it, it's not just motivation, but there's a lot of conditions, situation connected, put together and produce and motivate people. And depends on like leadership style and directive leadership style, and given every step of the directions, and maybe guide and supportive and positive and achievement leadership styles, and maybe motivate the people. Just think about and like authoritative, like exploitative, authoritative leadership style, and then if we don't do, there's a punishment, because people don't want to get a punishment, and then they work. I don't know how much quality work there, but still they work, right? But that's why we're gonna, maybe, I don't know, if you are really optimistic of the human natures, and then maybe this one is really supportive, participative, and working. But sometimes, if you think about human nature, X theory, right? X and Y maybe it works very well, but if you have an X, how can we deal with the people? And how can you motivate people? There is a behaviorist model. What is a behaviorist model? Behaviors are determined by environment through age reinforcement. Maybe if you gonna see, you're gonna see, but there's no motivation, and then but there is a reinforcement is there. Okay, if you get a B, reinforces that if you get a B, and I'm gonna buy a bike. Right? Buying the bike, give the bike is come as a reinforcement, right? And then this reinforce changes the behavior and change the outcome. That is that. And then so Beijing, there is environmental here is S, there's a stimulus is there, and then process and respond for their own stimulus and process. This is a process, and outcome is there, right? and the process of respond, and then outcome is SRO, like this. That is a basic process model. Yeah, so they believe that human behavior is subject to the certain laws and it can be modified through the reinforcement. So focus a lot of education is based on this behavioralism theory, and then I don't know. They believe that way, but what about intrinsic motivation? How can we draw the intrinsic motivation without a reinforcement? What is without reinforcement, and then sometimes, well, it's hard to get a job. Yeah, get a job done well, right? Yeah, it's hard. Sometimes, it's not an outside, reinforcement, but there is intrinsic motivation is there, and there's a quality of work, right? That's the I don't know. I try not to use the reinforcement when I raise my kids, and then a lot of parents that if you do this and if you get an A, and I'm gonna give you what the children really want to get. Like I'm gonna buy a dog. I'm gonna buy you a dog. Like I'm gonna buy something, and I'm gonna give you money like that. But I never done that because I already took I studied psychology here, and then I have my own basic philosophy in raising kids, and then I try to draw out the intrinsic motivation, and then I believe that the intrinsic motivation is more effective, and they can find it their way, right? And that's why I didn't use so I always say that if you want to do it, just do it. But if you don't want it, just let me know. We can save money, we can save time. And studying is the basic things as a student. Basic work. Parents is I know we support you guys, and then go and work, and that's a parent work. But as a student, what is your job? Study. But I don't force them I didn't force them to study hard, but basically they can study homework. I never seen them they do study until high school. Usually barely they finish the homework and go to school, but they are really strong at college. School depends on the school area, and school is easy, and then it's easy to get, even though you do the homework very well, and then it's easy to get an A, and then if you go to college, it's a different story, right? They struggle a little to adjust to the college level education, but still they are okay. And there is a social learning models, and then there is it's kind of a cognitive model, and you see the SRO as outside the student lines there, and the response and outcome, and the theory is social learning models. They process a cognitive. There's a cognition there, cognitive process there, a little bit different. And modeling is kind of student, people learn from the behavior by imitating observed models. That's the social learning modeling, and then that's the motivations, right? And there is process models, but there is a content model. It's not process model, and content model is here. I think so you guys have heard laws and Maslow's and basic desire hierarchy models and need hierarchy models, and then there's a physical need and safety need, and the love belongs to me, and esteem, and then self-actualization. People want to eventually get to self-actualization, and then that's intrinsic models. And then because of your peoples and everybody's like eating, fooding, or watering, water, sex, sleep, and homeostasis, and this is a physiological process, and to survive we need it, right? And then sometimes not survive, and then give you basic kind of your satisfaction on your bodies, and then that need. If you need is kind of satisfies and go up, safety and what, security, body employment and resources, morality, and family, and that relate to your security. And another level is loving belong to friendship and family, sexual intimacy, and then so people have kind of a higher need, right? Maybe if we really struggling with life to meet their needs, and then they don't think about much, not at all, but still they don't think about safety. Even though they are not safe, they can go and work, right? They don't have kind of extra to buy the house, and then not they take a suburban area and more safe for the children and like this. That's the people's motivation, that's the content model. Another one is that Adolphus, three categories models here. Can you see the Maslow's hierarchy model, the need models, and then there's Adolphus, ERG theory. This one exists basically physiological need and safety need is a basic need to so exist. And then he said belongings, loving and belongings relatedness to with others, friends and families, and right? And children, with the children, with the spouse, and then there's a relatedness. And then what about the self-actualization and esteem as well? And have self-confidence, and then self-motivated, and achieve something is a kind of growth. It really simplifies versions. The Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? That is a content model, one of the content model. Here is another model is McLean's social motivations model. And he said that every person has one of the three main driving motivations: need for achievement, need for affiliation, and need for power. Every person have one of these. So these motivators are not inherent, but people develop them through their culture and their life experience. They develop it. That's a deeper understanding of it, right? And think about need for achievement. And what do you want to achieve in your life? And if you have achievement is kind of if you have fears and what, it's fear of failure, and it's what the achievement is kind of low. But even though you are not sure the hope of success or higher achievements there. Here is saying though, need for affiliate and if you have kind of fear of people, then there's a social distance there. You don't want to belong to others, and then, well, and there is, if you have a high mutual affiliation and what, there is a harmony. Try to know how to relate to others and learn and compromise in certain, lines, right? And here is, and then power, how is you want to control? Maybe if you want to have a power to control, and then what about if you really don't have power and depend on others, right? Depend on others. There is a mechanism, social motives, and a little bit different from adult follower, and but still they divide in three, right? And then here's when the motivation low and high, what happens. Another motivation is like from observing the animals, and then other is territorial theories, and territorial theories that humans, like animals, are compelled by instinct to possess and defend the territory to, they believe belongs, exclusively to them. Okay? That's another motivation though. As a human being, I have a territory, and then try to defend and try to possess what I have, and then that is motivate people. Maybe, I don't know, but still, it's really emphasize the aspect of animal and human beings. There is some motivational theories, how you understand people, and then because if you go to school, then you gotta know that people's motivation. You gotta know the student motivation. As an administrator, if you go to school, and you gotta understand the student motivation and understand the student and their motivation. You gotta know, and then how can you motivate, and then you gotta know the teacher too, right? That is you can see what is the other one side, not the human nature really focus on, but a little bit beyond, you can see how human nature is motivated, right? That's a theory. And then what about the motivational work? A little bit different. And this is like not organization, and then Herzberg motivation heightened theories, and here is there are separate set of mutual exclusive factor in the workplace, and then here is, and there is some factors here, and then you satisfy with the job, and you don't satisfy with the job, and there is a basic factors in the middle, and here is if people don't satisfy with the job and influenced by the hiding factors, there is a hiding factors. And improving hiding factors decrease job satisfactions, right? And then here is working conditions, and then co-worker relationship, and policy and rules, and supervisory quality, base rate, and salary. All this is related, right? And then that one is not improved, and then their satisfaction goes down. Like teachers nowadays, we cannot live with this salary. I cannot support with my life, my family, and then this is one of their base rate. That's why now people not satisfied with their job as a teachers, and they left. What about if they have job satisfaction influenced by motivating factors, and then high achievement and recognitions and responsibilities and work itself and advancement and personal growth, and then think about what can they get through work. That's motivation, and people satisfied with the job. So that's really important then, and improving what the motivator factors, increasing job satisfaction, and what? Improving hiding factors decrease job job satisfactions. Always kind of related, right? And there's a Heidelberg two factors. So motivate factors and hiding factors is there, and then decide what's satisfied with the job and what not. So dissatisfied. There is Shamir's collectivist work motivation. Think about work as a together. Depends on your cultural background, and if you from the collective society like Korea, and then it's a group work, group thinking is really dominated. So if you raise around Western societies, and then very individualistic, right? And some years, their motivation is that think about the work motivation is values based on the considerations. What kind of value you have? And here is kind of expression and maintenance of identity. And then can you express yourself with that one? What about this one? Calculating considerations, self-expression, and collective efficacies, and social reward, and sanctions, and collective outcomes, and individual reward. Each kind of motivate people's motivates people to work. That is kind of I don't know whether you guys from the collective society, I think it's much easy to understand, but still without the background, still think about why you need and work together, and kind of motivate people to work together. So value moral values. Nowadays, I already talked to you, and there is no moral values, and it's hard to work together, right? It's not motivated group of people. Some people got benefit from the wrongdoing, but still people work hard, honestly, and they are not benefit. They are losing something. More work, tiredness, fatigue, right? That's Shamir's collectivistic work motivation. Understandable, But there's a lot of things that we're gonna talk about. We already talked about human natures, and then motivations, right? Process motivation, content motivations, and from workplace motivations. And let's go to another aspect of morals, right? Ethical dimensions. And understand this, and then there is approach is like, if you want to understand moral, and there is physiological and psychological and social. And what is a physiological is like a satisfaction of the basic human needs of survival. That is physiological, and then psychological means there was a continuous satisfaction of higher order needs, right? And you gotta pursuing the higher things, and then continue to what? you have satisfactions, and then that's a psychological, and then what social is a social phenomena caused by people. It's a strong desire to associate with their peers and their workers, and then others, right? That is a kind of moral, kind of understanding, right? People's, but morality is the kind of, we gotta know that there's a three approaches here, but morale is the atmosphere created by the attitude of members of organizations, okay? That atmosphere. But it's more likely be revealed by groups than the individuals. Kind of, it's like sometimes there's norm, and it's not written, but still you gotta follow. What is a good, right? What is the benefit for the all, like this. So the morale influence how employee perceive the organization and its goal. It's really important stuff. If there is no fairness in the organization, it's hard to see the morale. And then what influencing how employees are perceive the organization and its goal. What are we here now? And what are they expecting? What are they achieving like this? Here is, and then how you relate, morals can influence, and then organization. And here is factors and causes that organizations solve, and then it's really affected by morale and their own activities and their self-concept and nature of their work and their peers and the satisfaction of the needs and leadership. All this can be affected. That's why it's very important in organization. Think about, even though I won't say that this is I don't say that application of these all theories to the school organization, but so we already said that school, we consider school an organization and think about it, right? And here is, and then morals and productivity, studying employee morals and analyzing organizational record for changes and designation, termination, and absentees, productivity, complaint. And here is the interview employees with previous question around. This is all based on this one. They study. How can you measure the employees' morale? How they think about? We gotta know that though, as a leader, right? And so maybe you can use a questionnaire and reporting morale. Indicate indices, and then there is all the kind of there is a lot of way that you can use to understand the employee's morale. We gotta know that eventually the morale is all influence on the quality of the work, and your morale, I mean the school administrators, and then if your morale is influence the teachers, influence the staff, and influence on the students. And there is maybe I'm gonna skip this one, kind of formal, informal organizations, and then skip that one. And then human relations and educational administration. Let's talk about a little bit this one. What kind of your administration you want to build and establish? Maybe what is authoritative or democratic? And there is human relationship in education administration, and then there is kind of democratic education administration is built, and then teach have more opportunity for greater participation, change both characters of the school organization and work, and quality of any kind of relation between teacher and administrator. Can you remember that the relationship development in history, and then that's the influence on school, and they kind of developed democratic educational administration. So around the 60s, 70s, and then people started getting more involved in making decision process, like that. And there is like a societal change, and then the influence on school, and then here is movement. It's like 1967, the community movement is there, and community involved in education, and then and then teachers involvement, and administration, including staff who participate in the decision concerning supervision and budget allocation and curriculum, and that is the teachers' involvement. It's open to the teachers. And they not just the hierarchical level, but still they participating. And here is, and then stakeholder morals is related to the kind of leadership operating in schools. So there is a school lead, eventually, like because of the understanding of human relationships is changing and developing, and then school, they're like 60s and 70s, and then teachers is a lot of part of kind of roles of participating ones of the leaderships. But we gotta know that even though a lot of people participate in the decision-making process, and then school leaders chief responsibilities to facilitate the actions of others, and initiator, and coordinator, and helper, and resources persons, right? Not just participant, but still initiator and coordinator and helpers. That's the roles of leaders. Here is some models that the books, the textbook, and shows that, and there is if really want a transformational leadership at school, and he suggests that the book suggests that there is three elements there, and there was a visions, right? There is a kind of do you have a vision, and then we have vision, and then think about democratic was the administration, and then there's a shared vision, and planning, and making decision process together, and then what? This goes to shared actions, right? We can act together, and then there is a vision is there. What do you believe? We need leadership skills, and then we need kind of instructional management. Yeah. As a leader, as a manager, you got to manage, right? Give them instruction, and then as a leader, there is communication skill and team building skills. All together, There's a leadership quality for transformation in education, leadership, administration, there's a quality helps to show the vision and planning and make a decision together and work together. And then there's outcomes there. And that is one of the kind of the human relationship movement in education. And the book said, our textbook said that is a good way that kind of drawing the whole pictures of and how can use leadership styles and in human relationship. And I want you just think about as an administrator and how can we deal with the human relationship and the human relation. How can we deal with it? And as an administrator, and you gotta communicate with you relate to the student, you relate to the teachers, and you relate to the staff, you relate to the district, and there's a school culture is there, and then how can there's a goal is vision and goal is there, and then how can we work together in relationship with others, right? That is a basic idea about the human relations, and then basically I think so you gotta understand how the human relations are developed in our society and influence in organization, like even to schools, right? And then how they try to change, right? And in the kind of soil atmospheres, and then maybe if you want to become an administrator, maybe 5 years, 10 years later, there's another change still, but still, we gotta know how it's changing, our society's changing, and how we are changing, right? So that is a basic idea about human relations. We need to think before we jump into the school as an administrator, right? And if you have any questions, maybe I try to answer your question. And I hope that we need to know how important as a human relationship is in as a school education, as schools, right? So I hope you guys take care of yourself very well and stay dry, and God bless you, and see you next week. Bye.